thank you so much for tuning in tonight. So this is the first time I've ever done a live video training in the evening, but especially on a Friday night, because usually around this time I'm starting to get ready for bed because I usually get up and run early on Saturday mornings. So I'm trying something new because you know, you gotta try to catch people when they're available, and my point is to try to give you guys some makeup tips that you're going to be able to use. So I want you to be able to watch it when you're available, right? So first and foremost, I just want to give a special thank you to some of my friends that have offered to share out this video tonight with some of their friends that they think might benefit from it. So I just want to say thank you very much to Amy Janes, Melissa Haddock, Katie Pennis, Jess LaRocca, Shannon Pyle, Sarah Stewart, and Amanda Wheeler. So thank you ladies so much. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me, so thank you very much. So like I said, you know, what I want to do tonight is just share some tips for you focusing on concealer, but I actually have a couple bonus tips that I want to share with you first. So as you're looking at me, you may notice that I have my eye makeup done, my eyebrows are done, my lipstick is done, but none of my face makeup is done. And there's actually a reason for that. So what you want to do when you're applying your makeup, first you want to put on your primer. So primer, what primer does, that is going to help fill in any fine lines, smooth out your wrinkles, smooth out your skin tone. So think of primer like the primer for your walls in your house if you're going to be painting, right? You are typically going to buy either primer and do a coat of primer, or you're going to buy a paint with primer in it, right? Because that's going to help smooth out the surface before you apply the paint. So it's just like that for your face. So what you do is you put your primer on first, and while you let that set, you move over and you do your eye makeup. So that's why I already have my eye makeup done tonight, is because I'm letting the primer set. Now, the other bonus to that of doing your eye makeup first is that if you would have any fallout from your eyeshadow, you know, that might like get on your cheeks or anything, super easy to brush it off. No worries, you're not gonna mess up your foundation. So that's definitely another benefit for you with doing your primer first, then doing your eye makeup, then moving on to do your foundation. So what I wanted to show you that I think just works so well are some concealer tips. And you'll notice, like I said, that I don't have any foundation on yet. First concealer tip is to actually apply your foundation first and then apply your concealer on top of the foundation. So pretty crazy, I know, hey, but hey Genevieve. What this does for you is it helps your area on your face that you're concealing, it's gonna help it look less cakey. Because when you apply foundation, whatever kind of foundation it is, whether it's a loose powder, pressed powder, liquid foundation, cream foundation, BB cream, whatever it is, it's going to give you some coverage. So you get that on first, and then you apply your concealer on top of that, and that's going to help you from applying too much concealer. Because naturally, if you apply your concealer first, you're going to put a lot on, right? Because you want to cover it up. And then you put your foundation on and then you think, ugh, I kind of smeared that around a little bit and now I can see this spot again. I'll put on some more concealer. And it can get cakey looking. So you want to put the foundation on first. So what I'm going to do is I just wanted to show you real quick how that looks. So I've got my foundation here and I'm going to put that on my foundation brush. And so we'll get the foundation on first, and then you can see what kind of coverage I'm getting from the foundation. And then, like I said, then we'll apply the concealer on top of that so you can see how little you actually need to use, and that's really cool. So, all right, so another tip for when you're applying foundation, you actually want to go straight down the middle of your face. So that's where we're going to start. And the reason you would like to do this versus just kind of, you know, putting it all over is this is obviously the middle of your face, right? So what you do is you blend it out from here, and that's going to, you know, the further away from the center you get, the thinner it's going to get, and that's going to give you a more natural finish towards the outside of your face, you know, around your hairline, around your jawline, and that's just going to help everything look a little bit more natural when you get out here to the edges. So let me get this foundation on. So like I said, you can see what nice coverage you get from the foundation that you're using. So you start there, and then you can go back and cover any extra like spots, any blemishes that you might have, anything like that. So another tip, always make sure that you blend down onto your neck just a little bit to make sure that it's smooth. Now another tip for you, when you are choosing a foundation color, you actually want to make sure that you are choosing a color that matches your neck. And the reason you want to do that is because a lot of times, at least if you're like me, my face is almost always lighter than the rest of my body. I wear sunblock. I used to be a total sun worshiper, and I covered up a lot of the spots, but you know, I've got some spots up here and stuff from the sun. And hey Sheila! And so for me, my face is usually lighter than my neck. Now, if I were to match the foundation shade to my face, you know, looking at me, it might look kind of funny, right? Because my face would be lighter, you know, my neck, my chest, my shoulders, everything's a little bit darker. So you actually, when you're looking for foundation, you actually want to match it to your neck color. Not the inside of your wrist, not your face color, anything like that. Match it to your neck color. Hey Dee! So that's kind of what I've done here. So everything looks nice. It flows nicely, you know, from my face to my neck to my chest. It flows nicely, and then you, like say, just blend down onto your neck a little bit. So when you go to do your concealer, you have two options for the concealer color. If you are wanting to use a concealer to cover up certain, you know, spots, maybe out here on your face, sunspots, age spots, whatever, then you want to choose a concealer that is the same shade as your foundation, because you don't want it to stand out. You want it to blend very nicely. However, if you are going to use a concealer for under your eyes, maybe you have some under eye circles or maybe some redness, that's when you want to go 1 to 2 shades lighter on your concealer. And what this is going to do is going to do two things for you. The first thing it's going to do naturally is help conceal those circles. The other thing you're going to get out of this is that this area here will be brighter. Look a little bit lighter, you look a little bit more awake. And the other tip for that too is if you are doing something under your eyes to conceal dark circles and to, you know, look brighter and more awake, go with a creamy textured concealer versus a powder style concealer, because powder style concealers can actually make this area look dry and even a little puffy, just based on if they're a matte finish or maybe a luminescent finish. So if you're going for a brighter, you know, more awake, conceal my, you know, dark circles kind of look, go with 1 to 2 shades lighter in a creamy type style concealer. Hey Andrea, thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go with 1 shade lighter here on the concealer. So then the next option for concealer is how do you apply it? So my hands down favorite way to apply concealer is with a little blending bud. The other option is to use a concealer brush. So the difference between these two is the brush is going to give you, in my opinion, a little bit lighter coverage because it's going to use more of a swiping motion, whereas a blending bud is going to use a dabbing motion, and it's really going to pack that color in there in the one spot. Then you can always come back out here and blend a little bit if needed. So that's just my personal opinion. I think it works great though. So I'm going to use the blending bud on one side, and then I'll use the concealer brush on the other side just to show you guys the difference in application. Hey Madison! All right, so first up, we'll go with the brush. Now, like I said, because you've already put your foundation on, you're not going to need as much concealer as you normally would. So start with a really, really small amount. Plus, this kind of concealer that I use gives great coverage, so you really need like this much. So you don't want to get too much. All right. Oh, Sheila, thank you so much for stopping in while you could. I appreciate that. Okay. Now, the next thing I want you guys to notice in the application is how I'm applying it. Notice that I didn't just swipe it, you know, back and forth under my eyes. I put it in a V shape. So if you guys have ever looked at any sort of like highlighting and contouring videos or even just photos, you will notice that the highlight color always comes down a little bit brighter. And what that does, especially with going this 1 to 2 shades lighter on the concealer, it's going to give you a naturally highlighted look here on your face. So you're almost getting a 2-in-1, right? You're getting concealer and you're getting the highlight, I guess the highlight portion filled in, I guess is what I would say. So it's definitely like a 2-for-1 if you use this little method here. So as you can see with the little concealer brush, you definitely use more of a swiping motion. And just like anything, when you use a swiping motion versus a dabbing motion, swiping is gonna thin it out. It's just, I mean, I guess it's just science, like it's just how it works. Whereas a dabbing motion is gonna allow you to apply it thicker. So same thing for, you know, like eyeshadow. You know, you wanna apply it a little bit thicker, a little bit more vibrant, dab it on instead of swiping it on. Okay, so first up, just a quick little difference, just so you guys can see what this looks like side to side. Just a little bit lighter. Like I said, I don't want to go anything too crazy, so I just go 1 shade lighter, but it does just give a nicer, brighter highlight, and I didn't have to use a lot of concealer because we already have the foundation on. Next up is, like I said, to show you how to use a blending bud. So the first thing with the blending bud that you need to know is that you want to get them wet all the way through. Run them under water, squeeze them a bunch under water, and then wring them out, you know, a real good squeeze, and then just give it a squeeze like in a towel so it's not dripping water. But what that's gonna do for you is it's going to prevent the sponginess of this from soaking up a bunch of your makeup product, which is awesome because you won't go through it as fast. So hey, all about saving some money, right? Okay, so then you're still gonna apply this in the same like V-type shape that you did on the other side. But instead, like I said, you are just using more of a tapping motion or a dabbing motion. And what this is doing is it's just pressing this concealer right into your skin real nice and giving a very smooth look. So I feel like you can get better coverage using one of these versus the swiping of the tool. So it really just comes down to your preference, but I love using these things. So then what you could do if you wanted, you know, you could take it, add a little bit more, and you could even do a little bit more in the other highlight areas where you would normally apply like a highlighter if you use one. Just real simple right here, kind of in the center of the forehead, again, almost in a V shape. You can go straight down the middle of the bridge of your nose, a little bit on the tip of your nose to kind of raise the end of your nose, and then even a little more down here. Now, if you don't need highlighter in those areas, or excuse me, concealer in those areas, you could use any sort of just lighter shade. It could be a powder. You could even use a shimmery eyeshadow if that's all you had. It definitely works. I've done that before. So now I just want to show you real quick. I'm just going to do bronzer tonight. And show you how you apply, whether it's a blush or a bronzer, how you're gonna apply that to just blend very nicely with where you've already put your concealer. So this is the bronzer I'm using tonight. I love it because it's got a shimmer side and then more of a match side. So it just kind of depends on the look you're going for. So I'm gonna get some on here. Always, 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 if you get too much on your brush, make sure that you just tap it off and don't blow on your brushes. If you blow on your brushes, you risk getting bacteria in your brushes because, I mean, let's face it, your mouth has bacteria. Good and bad, fact of life, there's no getting around it. So think about it, when you blow on your brushes, you're blowing that into your brushes. And you don't want that, that's not good. So that's what we're gonna do, tap it off. And if you're using an angled brush like this one here, you always want to have the point facing down, okay? So, hey, Katie. All right, so like I said, you could do this with your bronzer, your blush. Then what I'll do is I'll go around this other side here. And so you're really only applying your bronzer or your blush, whatever you're using, about the middle of your pupil because you don't want to come over too close to your nose. And you're applying that just kind of straight back out. And you can kind of flick this, so you don't want to apply it so heavy back here. Kind of flick it back, and then you're going to get some color back here, but it's going to fade nicely the further out it gets to your hairline, which is nice. Okay, so let's see. Let me grab this little foundation brush here. Just give a little blend right here and right here. And see, then you can see how nice this looks. And it gives you that nice highlighted look. So just doing a little blending here between where the highlight color is and the bronzer color. And how nice of a highlight you can get just from your concealer. And you've also concealed your dark circles. So total bonus right here. Other tips, just real quick before I sign off, would be if you want to apply your bronzer, even for more of a contoured look, you can just kind of go right up in here and apply right up kind of around the hairline here. Just give a little bit more dimension in your face. And then you can also do just a little right around the jawline. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to add them now. I'll sign off here in just a moment. That way you guys can get on with your night. I think my makeup looks really nice, but I'm probably not going to sleep in it. I probably shouldn't. But that's the thing about doing these tutorials later in the evening, because I'll be going to bed soon because I got to get up and run in the morning. And I know Amy and Melissa and Dee who are watching will probably all be there with me. So, you know, if you see me in the morning with my makeup still on, I guess you know why. It's because I thought it just looked so nice. I didn't want to take it off. But for real, if you guys have any questions, by all means, please let me know. Again, thank you very much for all of you for tuning in tonight. I had a lot of fun doing this, something a little bit different. Like I said, doing this on a Friday night. And thank you to my friends for sharing this video out. I really appreciate your support as well. So if you have questions, drop them below. I'll get back to you after the video. Or, as always, please feel free to send me a message. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.